welcome back to the Bookfest Club. I'm your co-host Jay, along with my co-host Key and my co-host Jules, man. And today we got another controversial topic, man. Something that me and Jules spoke about earlier during the week. Do book content creators actually read the books that they put out there for audiences to see their 5-star reviews? Do you think they read the book in its entirety? And that's what we're going to discuss today. If you're a BookTok content creator or a book content creator on any platform and this applies to you, that's your problem. That's not ours. So with that being said, we can start this off. How y'all doing, good people? Been a minute since we got together.
Yes, doing good. Celebrating Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day to all the couples, all the singles. It's a day of love. So love your partners, love yourself. But I've been doing good. I hope you guys have been doing good as well.
Yeah.
But you, Drew?
Man, I don't know. Valentine's Day, man, I told my wife, because she went on a cruise, right? And I was trying to celebrate Valentine's Day before she went on the cruise. She said, babe, you know we don't really do Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is every day. And I was just like, oh no. But I was in my feelings this year, though, man. I was in my feelings. I was just like, man, I wanted to actually do the Valentine's Day thing.
Don't be, bro. Half of these girls will be giving back dogs in March. You feel me?
I'm just saying, but
it don't even matter,
this
bro.
is my
Flowers
wife
is dying
we talking
already.
about, and she shot me down.
So I know what you mean. But don't get caught up in the hype, man. Flowers gonna die. Edible arrangements get eaten. They'll be back to arguing next week.
You right.
Dogs will be giving back in March. You know what I'm saying? Up for sale. Puppies up for sale.
Hey,
So
if giving back, they would just be let out as strays and just take them to the park and drive off.
Because he done gave somebody else a dog and flowers, but we ain't gonna talk about that because this is Side Chick Day. So shout out to all my side chicks out there that got your present today, got your date today. You know, we still love you guys too. You're human beings. We just celebrate.
Chicks.
We just celebrate you on a different day, man. You know, side chicks need love too. Hey, you know, I'm just saying, man. But let's yo, what do y'all think? All right, and a lot of people, when we was talking on live, they was like, no, I think people read these books. What is y'all take on these book content creators? Do you actually think when they say they read 25 books in the month of February and like 4 of those books is Brandon Sanderson books? Key, you think they read all those books or they just talking out their ass?
I think they read them. And that's speaking as someone who, I mean, each month, like I've read 40 books already this year. And like, I love to read. And every time I see those reading wrap ups and there's people, they're like, oh, we read 20 books or 30 books. I never find it unbelievable because I mean, now I was just telling my daddy about this. Now that I have a night shift job, each shift that I've worked in night shift, I finished one book and started another. So I'm finishing almost 2 books a day because my job is at night. And a lot of that is it's slower on nights at times. And in my slow periods, I'm going to read a book and I have 10 hours. And that's all I do. Work, read. And you can finish a book, 300, 400 page book in 8 to 10 hours, you know, at least I can. So when I hear people say that, I will have to say yes. The people that I don't believe, however, are there some content creators who all of their books, when they're talking about books, are I'm going to say yes, no, maybe, but that's all of their videos. They never talk about the book. They just say, hey, I'm going to read this, yes, no, maybe, or I'm going to say yes or no, or you know what I mean? But they don't give you any detail about the book, what they actually thought about the book. Those are the people, when I see they do those videos constantly, in the back of my head, I'm thinking you didn't read those books because you haven't told us anything about them. Like, so I just automatically think in my head, you didn't read that. You didn't read that book.
What about you, Drew?
I'm going to just keep it a whole band. Some of y'all don't read books. Y'all reading blurbs, and then y'all read the comments, and then y'all will post. Y'all go to Barnes and Noble, you go to Target, you go wherever you get your books, and then you'll flash the book in front of the camera. You read the inside flap, you read the back of the book.
Talk to them.
And then you up here jumping around on TikTok, acting like you done read.
You read the book.
However, there are some creators out there that are reading the book, but I'm just looking for someone to not only just talk about, man, it was good, it was gory, it was thrilling, it was all these generic reviews that they're giving.
Exactly my point.
Like, go in depth.
Give me a name.
Yeah. Go in depth. Give something specific. What song was played when the guy proposed to, you know what I'm saying? But I get it, you know. A lot of creators are rewarded for speed and aesthetics and their hot takes and not going in depth. right?
Well, you also have to think what platform that you're viewing those on, because
Man,
me and Jay
all
talked
them
about this
platforms,
before.
Key. All them
Like if
platforms.
it, for example, TikTok is, you got to catch their attention quick. You got to catch it fast. No
Baloney.
one is going to be successful trying to do long form book review content on TikTok, which is a relatable, like catch their attention immediately type of platform. And I had even told Jay that I read so many books it's impossible to talk about them all in the 2-minute span that I have somebody's
So then
attention,
don't cover
you know?
25 books, because you make me feel like you doing this. Blah, 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 and then the book is done.
But
can't do
I'm
that.
just saying, it depends.
lying,
TikTok is
man.
one of those platforms where they do yes, no, maybes. They do monthly reading wrap ups, you know?
Because I don't think they read it. I could go through all these books right here and be like, yes.
But it just
based
depends.
off of what BookTok did. I don't believe these
If it's
BookTokers
BookTok,
be reading it.
It just depends. That's why I said it just depends. Because there's people, you just depends on the platform. When I see people on YouTube, like our content, for example, we do deep dives into books.
Yeah.
You know, we read
That's
it
all
because
we want is
we
a
are
deep
going
dive.
into detail.
Give us one.
We have the platform to do that because this is YouTube. This is long form content. So if we didn't read the book, you would know that we didn't read the book because people would know, okay, I read it. They're doing deep dives and they didn't mention this or nobody mentioned this or this didn't happen, or you know what I mean? You can tell because I've seen YouTubes where people have been doing long form content and they're talking about books and I'm thinking, you didn't read that book. You know, you can tell, but I feel like TikTok is just hard to tell because the point is it's a hot take. It's get somebody's attention really, really fast. And you don't necessarily have to read the book to be a BookTok creator.
But let me tell you this.
TikTok.
Let me tell you this. How many times would it take for you to go through 6 videos to get the same information to then go buy the book and before you even read it, posting content that on that same junk? You kind of know, you could get a sense of what people are talking about and then go there or go on Goodreads, figure some things out. Don't tell me what everybody else tell me. And that's why when I do a video about a book, I make it my own so you know I read it. That's why when I do the Freedom McFadden review, but when I go certain books, I'm talking about stuff that happened in the book. You know what I'm saying? When I say Calvin trying to figure out Grace trying to figure out Calvin, you would have known it was her, but if she not let that ID at that gas station. This is something that happened in the book. You wouldn't know. I just told you something that happened in the middle of the book and something that happened at the end of the book. Because what happened when dude ran out? She was like, yo, he was so creepy when he pulled out. I was just pushing pedal to the metal, but not knowing he was like, yo, you forgot your ID. So these are things that I want to hear. Don't tell me the same generic stuff of the book. If you're into gore and it's like this meets this, bulls, don't sell that to me, God. You know what I'm saying? Tell me what happened on page 30.
Like I said, I think it just depends. I don't know if I would watch somebody's content on BookTok if it was, even my book reviews, I try to make them 2 minutes or less for that very reason. I try to hit the most, look, this is the themes you're looking for. This is basically what the book is about. This is what I thought because I didn't like this, blah. And I could have got that off of reviews. I don't think it matters for BookTok, honestly. There are content creators that I follow. They never talk about any specific book. They talk about tropes. They make funny videos. They will hold up a book, but they never talk about any of the books. They don't. They don't have to be successful on BookTok because it's not really about whether or not.
And so to that point, Key, what does reading look like in creator culture, right? Reading used to be private. Reading used to be something we do in our private time. Now content has made it public, right?
Yeah.
And so the algorithm, people are reading for the algorithm.
Yes.
Speed, these
think
rapid
so.
wrap-ups.
They're reading only
they're
popular books so they can talk about them. Yes.
Yeah, they're making shelves behind
I
their background.
definitely think social media has changed the reading
It's about
culture.
the aesthetics. They're building shelves.
It is.
And in this attention economy, right? It's an attention economy. Sometimes the cover sometimes gets more love than the content, if you will. Like just covering the book.
I wish I had one to flex bombs for that.
And so my thing is this, though. You know, I feel like Jay-Z said it best too. He said, do these people listen to music or do they just skim through it? Right? Yeah. And I feel like the same energy applies to the bookish community. Do these people read books or do they just skim through them? Because skimming is not the same as soaking in a book. Like, man, we're soaking in this Jaquel J series. Like, we're soaking it in.
But you have to get
and my thing is, it's okay if you're just skimming. Just let us know that you're skimming.
That's the thing we're talking about, Key. I don't think that these people, you're one of the fortunate ones. Not everybody works at night. You're one of the fortunate ones. This is what a lot of people ain't been reading as long as you have too. So let's when we take into account, we're not just saying that to bash nobody. Let's get it twisted. We're not doing that.
Mhm.
But before
Mhm.
TikTok, BookTok, a lot of these people won't picking up books, right? They won't into it.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think they weren't making content of it, but I think
a lot.
I'm telling you.
But you look at it, a lot of people say it. They be like, "Yo,
raise
hold
the
on,
standard.
that in
Your
the
whole
reading
review
community.
sounds like the back of a book cover. That's not commentary.
And we
That's
was on
marketing.
live the other night, and people was talking like, "Yo, I ain't started reading books. I had to catch up. I just started reading books." You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people ain't been that big into reading like that. Like for this community, it's crazy.
Social media has definitely catapulted readers. Yes. I definitely think it does. It's changed the reading community. Social media has, but I think that there always have been readers. I'm telling you,
it's always going to be readers.
Yeah, but it's
even before that. But
I think when you bring content into it, kind of what Jules was saying, then the fact that you read or did not read the book no longer matters. People, especially when publishers are now using social media as a marketing strategy, you don't have to have read the book. You just have to, if you have a big enough platform and people are watching your platform, you could just say, hey, somebody sent me this book. This is what this book is about. And you are reaching people who would have never heard about the book because the book just wasn't getting recognition like that. And you have a big enough platform, you're bringing recognition, and people still love you because you're bringing recognition. You're talking about books, but you don't have to have read the book. So I think that is what you guys are missing. In this new social media culture, it's not about how many books you read. It's not about how in-depth your book reviews are. It's heavily about, are you a likable enough person for people to watch?
But then you taking away the essence. At that point, it's a show.
But it depends on what you want to do. When I feel like anytime you turn anything you do into content for people to watch, for people to ingest, the point is you have to have you're either educating or you're entertaining. And you know what I mean? And it's just like you have to decide which of those you want to do. You want to entertain? You got to be funny. You don't have to read the book to entertain people about book content. You want to educate? Then you can do long form book reviews. You can get more in depth. But I think with social media, that's the thing about books. There's people who love to read and they read every book they talk about. And then there's other people who like, I don't have to read it. I can skim it, tell people what it's about, and I get 100 likes and that's it. You know?
But we talking about the essence of doing what we do. There's ways you can make a book review. Look at what we did when me and you did stuff, when we did the Freedom McFadden stuff, right? The skit. It's ways you can still incorporate and keep the integrity of actually reading the book and still doing a funny skit like that. You know what I'm saying? So
but we didn't have to read the book to do that skit. We just know the titles of the book. Remember,
but what we did right after that?
Yeah, of course we did a book review.
No,
but
what we did a whole deep dive into the book.
Of course, but that skit by itself, it was funny. It was relatable. It definitely got us some follows. It had us on the radar. We hadn't read the book that we were talking about in that skit. So that's what I mean. It just depends on what you want to use your social media for.
But the balance in that is, right after we got that skit off, what was our next 5 videos? You saw,
we did
that's what I'm saying. That's the balance that I'm saying in between that.
Because
we could have did that skit and left it alone.
Yeah, it brings
and that's what I mean. The credibility of what we do. We have to have credibility in what we do. If not, then we don't need to be a book podcast. You know what I'm saying?
And I
feel now, if you want a book podcast,
but what do you want?
We should be.
You want you want, you know what I'm saying? Or you want Texas Day Brazil. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna take it a step further. I'm gonna take it a step further. Do you want Nas or do you want Soulja Boy? Right? Because you got a lot of this content is just like a 3rd grade book report in front of a ring light.
Come on,
you know
they don't want to hear that.
And so, like,
look,
you got
that.
Yeah. And so my thing is this: I'm not saying stop the ring light, right? I'm not saying shut that down. I'm just saying add some balance, right? This argument is no different from the hip hop versus vibe hip hop, right? Like lyrical miracle hip hop versus, hey, I just want to vibe. You got vibe reviewers.
That's the whole Kendrick and Drake. What he said, make me dance and it won't be no, you know what I'm saying?
But I mean, my thing
you got
is,
skimmers,
I just
you got
always feel
vibers,
like
and then you got those that are like heavy on the
I think that there's a space for both. I think what you guys are focused on is you want people to tell you, hey, I didn't read the book, but I'm just making content about it.
No, don't tell me. I can see it. I know who's doing it and who ain't.
But I mean, you don't necessarily know. You think you know. Just like I think
I
you
know.
But we don't ever know for sure. This is just our assumption. I could make a book review and somebody could be like, well, that wasn't really that detailed. And I'm thinking I hit some good points, and people who have read it may be thinking, well, she didn't mention this. And it's just like, because I didn't think it was important. I think you have to also enter the conversation. Reading is subjective. There's things that you will point out of a book that I just like, okay, whatever. I would have never thought to mention it. It's just when it comes to content, I mean, I like a little bit of both. And I think that's, if y'all follow me on my BookTok, y'all will see that I love talking about books, but I can't talk about every book I read. Sometimes I just say, hey, I read this, or I started this, and this is what the book is about. And that's it. That's all you're going to get. And there's other times where I will do a more in-depth book review. You know, I think there's room for both.
But based off of your page, won't nobody go to your page and be like, you're not authentic with it. It's pages that we go to.
You don't think that. I mean, but I don't know how I'm being perceived.
And so I guess the question is, how can you tell that a person is really reading these books without being a hater, right? And the signs that often show up when somebody didn't read that book closely, you can tell the signs, and they can't explain the turning point, right?
Mm-hmm.
They only know like the premise or just the overarching idea of the book. They confuse character names, and they may think that I'm one of those individuals because I was giving a review of Capone and I didn't make the connection that Ella and Rye were cousins.
Aaron.
No, it's Aaron. It's not Ella, because I was gonna say Ella.
No, not Ella. Yeah, not Ella. Ella was the baby mama, Capone's baby mama. And so I'm talking about, Aaron and Rye were cousins. I didn't make that connection. I thought it was her homegirl, right? But it wasn't her homegirl. It was her cousin. And so I later, as I continue to go through the series, I was able to lock in on the characters and who they were. I hadn't really understood it after, the end of Capone, the first book of Capone.
That's something that maybe I would have honed in on, but that doesn't mean you didn't read it. And that's why I said, even me saying the yes/no videos, it's only because there's a creator, that's all the videos they do. They never talk about the books. They just do yes, no, maybe reviews. And I'm just thinking, you didn't give anything. You didn't even say what the book is about every single video. And it's just like, I can't get judged by your videos that you actually have invested in this content, because yes, no, maybe it's not enough to convince me. But truly, why do they need to convince me? BookTok is vibes, like you said. I think that, like I said, there's a time for both. And I think the thing is, some of the most successful creators that I follow,
the opposite of vibes. Do you go to YouTube?
That's where I was going.
TikTok
where
is
do
vibes,
you go?
is YouTube?
And this is going to sound really conceited. I don't actually look to other people to decide what books I'm going to read. If I think a book sounds interesting, that's why I've never felt why people get so upset about bad or negative book reviews. I've never seen a bad or negative book review that made me be like, I'm not going to read it. I have my own mind. If it sounds interesting to me, I'm going to read it. Reading is subjective. Just because you didn't like it doesn't mean I'm not going to like it. So that's why if I was to say, well, who would I go to get good book reviews? I would go to myself. I don't know. Nobody has the exact same reading taste as me. You know what I mean? So if I hear somebody talking about a really good book and it sounds like something that would interest me, I'm going to look it up. If I read the synopsis and I'm vibing with it, absolutely. If not, then not. But I guess I don't look to people to say, oh my gosh, I need help finding books, because I'm a reader and I find the books that I want to read. I want to read Black fantasy. I would look up Black fantasy. I want to read urban fiction. I'm going to look that up. If I want to read romance, I feel like readers have to also be independent thinkers, and we've lost that when it comes to content, and we're looking to content creators to make those decisions for us when it comes to reading. I think it's fun talking about books. It's fun talking about, oh, I like this, I didn't like it. But when it comes to picking out books, I think have content creators that you like, but ultimately make your own decision. Readers are not a monolith. Choose what you want to read, and don't just necessarily base it off of a popular BookToker's opinion. That's just always been my thing. Even in my book reviews, I say, read it, even if I didn't like it, because I don't like a lot of shit. So
I just feel
I
feel like, when I first came into this space, yes, I was thinking about the review, but I found, what people are really looking for is not someone to review books and that they could come to and listen to their review. Who wants to listen to a review, right?
Exactly.
I feel like people are looking for a space to come and give feedback and give a response to a book in a community that has read the book, right?
And open up a discussion.
Right, and open up a discussion. People want to discuss a book around like-minded individuals who have read the book as well. Because like we talked about earlier, man, reading is private.
Yeah.
But you have your thoughts about that book. Where do you go to discuss those thoughts? Book
private
club?
In some ways, though, because you got book clubs and stuff like that.
Right, and I was just about to say that.
So now with all the inclusive readers, you know what I'm saying? People are meeting up. People are doing lives on TikTok and stuff like that, or any social.
20 years ago, you didn't have this. 20 years ago?
Yeah.
20 years ago?
Who did you go to?
Where did you go to in 04?
To chop it up. And unless it was like a book review app or something.
Book club.
Or a book club.
Yeah, and do this. Yeah. Now, like social has made it where you can have virtual book clubs.
I mean, that's the
and
part I love
live
about
and,
it.
yeah.
Yes. And you can talk to people about, like Jules said, it's really spreading the love of books, spreading the love of reading, and building a community. And you don't have to just do book reviews to build a community, you know? And I definitely think that there are frauds in the community. There was this scandal on TikTok a while back. There was this woman who was getting paid to actually do book reviews, and she wasn't reading the books. And it was like this big thing. And I've talked to Jules and Jay about this. That's why I would never accept payment to do a book review, because I feel like once money exchanges hands, I just feel like, you know, I read for fun. And I'm not going to lie and say money would not influence me. You're paying me $50. There's no way you could pay me $50 and I'm gonna get on here and be like, hey, your book was absolute shit. It was trash. You know what I mean? I don't, because I'm a kind person. You know, you trusted me. You're paying me. There's no way I want to deliver a bad review. I'm automatically going to be thinking with rose tinted glasses on because you paid me to do this. You know, I don't want to, you know, so that's why I don't accept payment. I like to find authors on my own, because even them reaching out to me, hey, I love your content. Can you read my book? Automatically, I'm like, well, I like you now. You know, you watch my content. How could I be like, yeah, I hated your book? Right. So I get nervous when authors even reach out to me, because I'm just like, I find it hard to be.
It don't matter. Write a better book.
It's difficult to me when an author reaches out to me directly, because I'm not, imagine someone being like, hey, y'all, we really, really love y'all podcast. We love y'all so much. Can you please read our book and talk about it? And we've all agreed that we hate the book. How do you... But we
know how to do it, though. You know? We're going to talk about it. We know where to go. You got to write a better book.
But not if somebody approached me. If it was just, I discovered it on my own. This is me. I discovered it on my own. I would talk about it, but you reached out to me. I would just tell you privately, you know, hey, I maybe didn't really like the book. I may not do a review, but that's why I said, I know myself. I'm too nice. I can't be objective if they reach out to me.
Where they was like, he's like, I need you to help me not have a big heart.
Yes.
Because that's where she at in the space of books. Like, she been taking up for the other side. I just want you to help me. Robert, what do you need? Not have a big heart. But before we get out of here, y'all,
that's how
I do want to say, this is just our thoughts. You know, we just kicking it. You know, we not here to bash nobody. You know what I mean? If the shoe fits, then you got to wear it. That's your problem, not mine. You know what I'm saying? But
if we not here to just,
you know what I mean? Yeah, if you faking it, that's on you. But this is stuff that I've seen people talk about. So I was like, all right, this is kind of things that people talking about in the community that I've seen. So I was like, let's address it and talk about it on the pod. So, Ju, before we get out of here, man, is there anything you want to say to the people about this topic?
I just feel like it's okay to DNF if you didn't finish. It's okay to skim if you say you skimmed. It's okay to review a portion of the book, as long as you label it and you keep it real. DNF is honest. You know, I'm on these TikTok lives and people are just saying, man, I did not finish a book. I DNF a book in a minute. And so I just feel just be honest. Fake finish is fraud. You up here faking like you finished something, but that's we don't want no frauds. And I ain't trying to sound bitter or anything. I feel like transparency makes, you know, follow content respectable. That's forgivable if you're being transparent. Like, look, y'all, I didn't finish this book. I jumped around in this book a little bit. Here's what I got from it. Right? Yeah. You could say that. That's okay. The problem is, I just want to be clear that the problem isn't skimming. The problem is pretending. And like you said, Key, we never know. I feel like that's another reason that we're here. It's just hold people accountable. I feel like, you know, because once the credibility goes out the window, it starts getting corny to me. You know, you're just, because the algorithm just won't speed. And so what if I can't finish this book because life is happening? And I don't want to make the assumption that everybody's life is like mine, because everybody's life isn't set up like mine. We got people on disability. We got people in different stages of life, different seasons. You know, they're out for school. And so guess what? They got a lot of time to knock out. They're probably on vacation at a time that I'm not on vacation. And so I don't want to sound like bitter, but I'm just saying, just keep it a band.
What about you, Key?
I was going to say, just in all things, integrity is very, very important. So just piggybacking off of what Jules said, as long as you have integrity in doing what you do, and in part of integrity is being honest about things, I think that's really, really important in the bookish space, especially if you are someone who wants to be a bookish content creator, that people do get ideas and you are perpetuating that your content is honest. If it's not, that's not really doing it with integrity. So always do it with integrity. But also, this is my own personal mantra. You got to do whatever fits your stuff, your content, your channel, your books. Think being independent is also extremely important. And I actually talked about this on Threads. I have a TBR list that is so long that it will take me decades to finish. I am so absorbed in what I'm doing with this bookish podcast and with my own content that I don't even have the time to necessarily assess other people's integrity. I just assume, and maybe that's very naive of me. I assume that people are doing content with integrity. And that's why I just said, just have integrity with everything you do, but especially with your content, and make sure you're being honest. Cause like Jules said, once that credibility is shot, then you lose the trust of the people who have put that trust in you that your content is honest. So do whatever fits you, be independent, and have integrity. That's what I have to say.
Got you. Yo, but let me wrap this one up. For those of you who, and we talked about this is going to be something, I'm giving y'all a sneak peek of what's to come in the next episode. For all, bring it right here. I'm probably going to have myself a zoom in.
Is this my camera right here?
This is right. Is this my camera right here? Right here? For all of you African American book content creators, right? That go off and read the other books, right? I see you, son. I saw you the other day. You don't have not one African American piece of literature, but you over there with Brandon Sanderson, you over there with all of those other folks, right? But you don't, but you ain't gonna recommend that. Then when I seen in the comments, somebody recommended something, you was like, that's not my speed, that's not my cup of tea. I'm gonna call you out on the next episode because I ain't gonna let you get away with that one. I don't care what the
happened?
People say.
It was black.
I just
people
want you
who
to know
don't
that I
read
saw
black
that
books.
post.
Black people that don't read black
I
authors.
saw that post on Urban Fiction because you ain't grow up in it or because you look like a certain way. I ain't even gonna get into that. But don't think I'm not on you and I ain't see that. And
I'm
I
not
will be
black.
shouting
I'm
your name out
OJ.
next time. I guarantee you that.
Okay.
Promise you, because you a sucker for that. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man,
and that's what we talking
OJ.
about with these African American men not jumping into the genre to boost it up, and they popular book content creators. You a sucker, and I'm gonna see you soon.
But I mean, Jay, and I may be playing devil's advocate.
We gonna end it right there.
That's why I said y'all gotta be independent thinkers. You gotta let people read what they read.
Right there. Nope, we're not doing that. We're gonna end it right there. That's exactly what we're ending it at.
He ain't saying they gotta read like.
I didn't say that. That's not what I said. But it will be. Listen, when I eat to them next episode, you're gonna see. You're gonna see.
Okay.
But until next time, man, we got Key. We got Key the reader, Jay the speaker, and Jules the architect. Until the next time, peace, y'all. You got a Bookfest Club.